let's go to the work of the day. You're welcome once again. Let's start with scales. Just start with scales. A scale can be described as a progression. Please, as we're going on, I would like it if you have a note by your side, a note and a pen. We're going to do some class activities. So have your note and your pen. Although I've already sent us my lecture note, so you'll be able to look through it. But just have a note and a pen. But some of us who have gone through the lecture note might have even done that activity. Well, the activity is actually there. Okay. So a scale can be described as a progression of notes ordered by difference in pitch. All right. So an ascending scale is ordered by an increasing pitch, while a descending scale is ordered by a decreasing pitch. All right. We remember one of the properties of music, properties of sound, sorry. Properties of music, yeah. We said pitch, right? Okay. We also said duration, and on like that. So the pitch, that frequency gives you like that, okay? So that describes if you're progressing, if you're progressing from one note to the other one, you're progressing from one note to the other one, and to the other one, and to the other one, you're likely forming a scale. If you are ascending, that means it's going to be an increasing pitch. The next note is higher in pitch than the previous one. That's an ascending scale. Descending scale, you're coming downwards, just in the opposite way, all right? So that's what we mean by descending scale and ascending scale, all right? Okay, let's go to chromatic scales. Chromatic scale is a scale full of notes which are only half step distant from the next. They are only half step distant from the next. Okay, you remember what whole steps and half step is? They're just talking about, basically, some people will call it tone and semitone. All right, I brought the keyboard back to you so that you can be able to refresh your mind. If you move from C to C sharp, is that an half step or a whole step? B1, can you answer for us?
Half step.
That's an half step or a semitone, all right? If we move from C to D, B11, can you answer for us? If you move from C to D, is that an half step or whole step?
It's an half step, sir.
You're moving from C to D. Is that a half step or whole step?
Half, sir.
Okay. B11 said that is an half step. I want B10 to help us and let make contribution. If you're moving from C to D, is that an half step or whole step?
It's a whole step.
Okay. If you support that it is a half step from C to D, can you just raise up your hand? If you support that it's an half step from C to D, just raise up your hand. Okay, if you support that it is a whole step from C to D, raise up your hand. All right. If you do not support anything, it will be your turn now to raise up your hand. Others can put down their hands, but if you don't support whether it's an half step or a whole step, you can now raise up your hand. That is, you didn't raise up your hand in the two. Is there anyone like that? All right, okay. Okay, so maybe, okay, B7, you were not sure whether it was you moving from C to D, all right? Okay, but just in case you've forgotten, you should have learned this in the preliminary classes, grade A. Let's just refresh our memory. If you move from, yes, B7?
I put it up by mistake, sir. So
oh, okay, all right. Okay, so if you move from C to D, it's an O step, all right? So just in case you've forgotten, let's just refresh ourselves, remind ourselves. If you move from C to D, that's a whole step or a tone. D to E, that's a full tone. E to F, that's a semitone, okay? Because there is no, you can see there's no black key in between you. It's just a full tone, okay? From F to G, that's a full tone. From E to F is a semitone, all right? From F to G is a full tone or a whole step. From G to A, another full tone or a whole step. A to B, another full tone or a whole step. From B to C, that's a semitone, all right? Okay, but if you move from C to C sharp, that's a half step, okay? It's an half step. From C sharp to D, that's another half step, all right? From D backwards to D flat, that's a half step, okay? So let's not forget that. Okay, so that's just a revision, just to be able to be sure that we know what a half step, a whole step is, okay? So now we said that chromatic scale is a scale that is full of notes, which are only half step distant from the next. So if I tell you to construct a chromatic scale now, it should not be difficult for you, right? You know that if you start from your tonic, you start from the resting note, the note of that particular key. Let's say your key is D, all right? And you start from D, you draw your first note on D in that stave. Then the next note must be just a half step. So from D now, let's say I want to construct a chromatic scale of D now, okay? And I've started with D. What will be my next note? Where will I put my next note? Who can tell me? If you want to talk, just raise up your hand, I'll call you. I've already started with D, and I want to put the next note now because I'm constructing a chromatic scale. Where will I put it?
D sharp.
I'll put it on D sharp. All right, thank you. You didn't raise up your hand though. All right, ma, thank you. Okay, so that way you will be able to construct a chromatic scale. All right. So the example of a a 1 octave chromatic scale. Look at the 1 octave chromatic scale. You remember what an octave is when you move from a note to another note that is double the frequency of your previous of the initial note. Like you started with a tonic, and when you are ending the scale, you are ending on that other note that doubles the frequency of the tonic. All right, so that is an octave. So if we are to construct a 1 octave chromatic scale, usually you will see that you move from the first note. Maybe if you are constructing on D, just like we said the other time, and we said the next one is D sharp. But if it was not a chromatic scale, the next note will not be D sharp. Or if you started from D, the next note will not be D sharp. Am I correct? The next note will be E. The next note will actually be E, all right? So, but because it was a chromatic scale, that's why you made the next one to be D sharp, okay? So you will have to go all the way until you have doubled the frequency of D before you stop. But remember that the next note will just be different from the next one by just a semitone or by just a half step, all right? So let's see if you get what I'm trying to say. Here I'm just trying to describe to you a major scale. You know, it's made up of 8 consecutive tones. I said a major scale. You know, we've looked at chromatic scale now. Let's come to major scale. You will still do the activity that will show us what you'll be able to know if you grab what I'm saying. But let's just quickly look at major scales first before you now do that that activity that will make me to know, yeah, that you're grabbing what I'm saying. Okay, look at major scales. The major scale is made up of 8 consecutive tones in the following pattern of whole steps and half step. So if we are on a major scale now, Remember, we're talking about circle of fifth and circle of fourth the other time. We're saying that you move from this key to the other key and all that and all that. But if you are on a major scale is made up of 8 consecutive tones in the pattern of whole steps and half step. So the major scale will be whole step. If you move from one note to the other, maybe you have drawn your first note and you want to know what will be my next note, and your note and you're on a major scale, all right? You're trying to construct a major scale here. You've already started with a particular note. You want to know what will be my next note now. Because it is a major scale, your next note must be a tone distant from the previous one, or a whole step distant from the previous one, okay? So, and usually it follows a pattern of whole step, half step. Look at what I put, look at my screen. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step, all right? Or some people will say tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So now, for me to be able to construct a major scale of D now, let's say I want to construct a major scale of D. I'm going to say I'm moving from D to, what is the whole step distant from D? B10. Can you tell me the whole step distant from D?
E.
That will be E. Thank you. So that's how you will know how to construct your major scale. And you remember, let's say your major scale now you're constructing an octave. You started from D, it means you must end at D. So all along the line, in between your first D and the last D, that's where the work is. Okay, that's where the work is. So now we're looking at, first of all, put my first one to be D. That means my next one will be E. That's a whole step. Done. Let's go to the next one. After E, what is the next whole step? Because it is whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So we're starting from the first one. We have written D, so we have moved a whole step distant to E. All right. The next whole step distance will be from D to let me call another person, B3. Yes, B3. We have picked D. We said the next note will be E because it's an whole step. Huh?
F sharp.
So from E to
F sharp.
Very good. Thank you very much. Because if you bring your keyboard back to you, we were already on E, okay? If we stop at F, it is not an O step. That's an half step. That's a semitone. So we wouldn't stop here. We will go from E to F sharp. That's when we can say, yes, we are happy now. We have moved a whole step distance, because here to here is still half. Here to here is another half. All right. Okay, let's go there. So now we have moved from D to E, E to F sharp. From F sharp to the next one must be an half step. So what is it gonna be? B6. From F sharp to the other one must be an half step. What is it gonna be? B6. From F sharp to the next one, we're constructing a major scale actually. So from F sharp now to the next one, which must be an half step distance. B6, are you there? Okay, B9, can you help? Can you help B9? From F sharp to
D sharp.
Okay, let's go back to the keyboard. That's why this keyboard must always run in our mind, because it will really help us. It will really, really be of help. From F sharp now, the next semitone distance is what, everyone?
F sharp to D sharp.
G.
It's
G.
G. It's
G.
G. Because you're moving from F sharp to G. That's the half step, you know, half step. It's a half step. That is the next one, because the pattern is whole step. Don't forget that half step, or you say tone, tone, semitone. Then tone, 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 semitone, or you say whole step, half step. So now let's continue now. We have said the first one is the first one is D, the next one is E, the next one is F sharp. From F sharp we go to G. So from G now we're going to, it must be an whole step distance again. From G to what now? It is a whole step distance. Don't forget B15. Can you help us? B15. We're constructing a major scale. Okay, from G to A. Thank you. You're correct. Thank you very much. All right. So B3, can you tell us? We are already on A now. It's another whole step. So A to what? It has to be a whole step distance. That will be B. All right. B7, tell us from B to what? It's another whole step distance again. B7. Oh, you cannot talk. I can't see the mic. All right. Let me call B1. B1. B1.
C sharp.
From
B. From B
to, and it must be all step.
Yes.
So from B to
C sharp.
You are correct. You're correct. Because if we move from B, look at it now. If we move from B to C, it just be an half step. So we must jump to C sharp to have a full step. Okay, you're correct. Then the next one will be the last one, which will be our D again. All right, it has to be half step. Remember, you must even hand at your first note. Only an octave higher. All right, let's go to this class activity. This is gonna be interesting. Take your pen and paper and tell me the answer to the first one. Write it down. The answer to the second one. You are looking at 4 keyboards, okay? So just tell me, on the line beneath each piano, this line that is beneath your piano, don't worry, you don't need to draw a piano. Just look at the screen right in front of you and just tell me what the answer is. On the line beneath each piano, write whether the interval indicated by the O's, this O we drew here, are a half step or whole step, or are a semitone or a whole tone, okay? So for this first one, write the answer. Take this as the second one. Take this as the third one. Take this as the fourth one. Do it in 1 minute. 1 minute. Take this one as the first one. This as the second. This as number 3 or C. This as D. Okay, if you are done, just raise up your hand. If you are done with that, I will know that yes, you're done. Just raise up your hand. That's done and dusted. Done and dusted. I've dusted it now. I'm done with it. Okay. I'm still waiting for others to finish theirs as well. This is the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. This is the fourth one. Tell us whether they are half step or whole step distant from each other. We're waiting for others. We still have up to 4 people that are not yet done with theirs. We have 3 people. B6, we're waiting for you. B7, okay. Okay. So it means that how many people are done now? Who are we waiting for? Okay. Okay, B7, are you done? All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So let's just do it together now, but you will tell me your score. I will know your score. So you are the one that will mark yourself. I know we are believers now. We are children of God. Children of God. All right. So you will mark it yourself. The first answer is this whole step or half step?
Whole step.
Whole step.
That's a whole step distance. Thank you. Mark yourself now. Just mark. It's a pity we cannot exchange our notes for our friend to mark for us, but you are marking yourself. It's fine. All right. The next one now, is it a whole step or half step distance?
Whole
Half.
half step distance.
You know, there's a confusion now. Some people think it's half, some people think it's whole. So everybody should put down their hands right now. Everybody should put down their hands. Don't worry. Put down your hands, everybody. So we are on the second one. Is this a whole step distance or half step distance? This is an half step. It's an half step distance. It's a semitone distance. So mark yourself now, wrong or right. Just mark yourself wrong or right. Okay, the third one. Whole step or half step distance?
Whole step.
That's a whole step because we move from this to this white, and then from this white we move to the black. So that's half plus half, making one. You don't just jump from the black to the black. It's like coming from the black to the white first, then from white to the black, okay? Then this last one, we just move from this white to the white. There was no black at all. So that's an half step, okay? So let's know if you score. Yes, it is time to know now. Yes, yes, let's do this. Let's do this now. If you scored 4-4, raise up your hand. 4-4. I'm looking at people now. 4-4, raise up your hand. Okay. If you scored 3/4, raise up your hand. Let the 4-4 put down their hands, please. 4-4, put down your hands. 3/4, raise up your hand. Okay. Okay. If you scored, no, wait. I'm on 3. 3/4, raise up your only 3/4. I want to see your hands up. Okay. If you scored 2/4, raise up your hand. 2 out of 4. Raise up your hand. Okay. If you scored 1 out of 4, raise up your hand. 1 out of 4, raise up your hand. If you scored 0 out of 4, don't be shy, just raise up your hand. Don't be shy. You remember there's no name even here. Or am I the one that didn't look very well? I was thinking probably maybe there was still someone that has not raised up a hand at all. All right, but that's fine. So, but I believe now you've looked at the correction and you can understand now. Thank you. Okay, let's move to the next one. On the line. This is another activity. Get your pen and your paper ready now. On the line that is below these notes, write whether the pair of notes represent a half or a whole step. Quickly, do that in 1 minute if you can. There is, just take this as number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12. So it means that this note is, if you read the stave, you should be able to know what this note is. And if you read the stave, you should know what this, remember this is I shouldn't even tell you. I don't need to tell you. So just quickly look at it fast in 1 minute. Just tell us, is this a whole step distance or half step distance? Just quickly play with it right now and do everything. We have how many questions there? 3, 6, 9, 12. Yes. Okay, so let's solve the second stave.
Okay.
All right. The answer to this second stave,
Flat.
we are moving from what's the
D to D flat.
thank you, from D to D flat. That's a half step, right? Then from A to B, that's a whole step.
Whole note.
Then the third one from A down to G.
G.
That's a whole step. Then we move from C to D. No, C sharp. We are moving from C sharp to D. Okay. That's a half step.
Yes.
That's a half step. From E to D sharp. From E to D sharp. Okay. That is a half step. From E to D sharp. That's a half step. Okay. Then the last one, from B flat to A flat.
B flat. That's whole note.
From B flat to A flat. Is that a whole or half?
The whole.
That's a whole. All right. So now let's go. Let's do this again. If you score, what is the total score here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
At number 4.
At number 4, yes.
Isn't it a half, sir?
Oh, let's see.
It's from F to E.
Let's check it. Let's check it. It's from F to E. Oh, it's a half step. Please, it's an half step. From F to E is an half step. It's not a whole step. Please mark it accordingly, please. Adjust that. Thank you for that observation. Okay. All right. So let's do this again. Everybody lower your hand first so we can be clear. What's the total score? 3, 6, 9, 12. If you scored 12, raise up your hand. You scored 12. You scored a total of 12 out of 12. Raise up your hand. Okay. If you scored, you can put down your hands. You scored 11. You scored 11. All right. You scored 10. All right. You scored 9. B10, is that 9 or 10?
It's 10.
Okay, 9. I want only 9 up now. Okay. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3, 2, 1. All right. Oh. All right, isn't it interesting? All right, let's continue. So it's just to make us to be able to grab what we're talking about, okay? So now let's continue. A scale usually starts with its tonal center. That is the note that names the key. That note in the music where the key feels at rest is referred to as the tonic. That's the do, all right? So to find all the notes in your scale, just start at the tonic and go up following the pattern of full step, half step, full step, half step, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So what this is basically saying is that if I tell you now that construct a major scale, the major scale of F major, of course, F sharp major, Oh no, F major, just the F major. If I tell you to construct the major scale of F major now, your tone, your tonic is gonna be on F, right? So how do you know the next one? Just look at the tone, just like the way we did the other time. The next tone, then semitone, then tone, 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 semitone, okay? So that's what we're talking about. Let's move on. Oh, I have a class activity, another class activity for this is gonna be your next assignment. This is gonna be your next. For each note below, construct a major scale and let it be a 1 octave, okay? For each note below, construct a major scale, let it be a 1 octave, ascending, beginning on that note, all right? So from here now, you must end on the next octave. Remember, it's the octave is the one that is, you're finishing on the note that doubles the frequency of this, that doubles the pitch of this first one, okay? So that's what you're doing. All right. So I said the picture of the keyboard in your mind can really be of help to you. Actually, it helps for me. The minor scale. The minor scale. I don't want us to come for another Zoom meeting. So I'm thinking that we should finish this and be done with it. Let's look at the minor scale. A minor scale consists of 8 consecutive notes in the pattern below. You remember the pattern of the major scale. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Or you say whole step, half step, then whole step, half step. But it's not the case in the minor scale. All right? It's not the same in a minor scale. If I tell you construct for me the minor scale of what, you have to make sure that the next tone is distant from the first one by a whole tone, a whole step. Then the next will be half step. So it's going to be whole step, half step, then full step, half step. All right. The full step is the same as whole step. Okay. So let's start again. Whole step, half step, whole step, or full step, half step, then whole step, all right? So that's what I'm trying to compare. I'm trying to compare the minor scale pattern and that of the major scale pattern below here. Look at these red marks. That's what you see. That's what I'm trying to show you, okay? You will see that the difference between the minor scale pattern and the major scale pattern is just that the whole step and the half step that started the minor scale, you find it at the end here, all right, in the major scale. So there's some of similarity. If you can understand this similarity to make you to be able to memorize this pattern, okay? All right, so let's look at this statement, the scale that is created by playing all the notes. If you have a minor key signature and you played all the notes inside it, you have all the notes of that scale in that minor scale. That means a natural minor scale. It's a natural minor scale, all right. Now the interval pattern of major and natural minor scales are basically the same, only starting at different points. That's what I was trying to describe with this one. Every minor key shares a key signature with a major key, all right? So a minor key is the relative minor of the major key with which it shares the same key signature, although they sound differently. Do you understand this statement? Every minor key shares a key signature with a major key. So a minor key is the relative minor of the major key with which it shares the same key signature, although when you play them, they will sound differently. That's what I was trying to explain down below here. I said, for instance, C minor shares key signature with E flat major. Thus, C minor is the relative minor of E flat, and E flat is the relative major of C minor. Okay, let's try to deconstruct this and really understand it very well. Now, if you are to construct the scale of C minor, remember what I told you how to construct it. It's going to be whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. So remember, you should always start at your tonic. always start at your resting note. So we want to construct the scale of C minor. You will just draw your stave and then you put your clef, all right? Then you starting on C, right? Because after all, it is C minor, okay? You start on C. You draw your first note on C. To know which one you are drawing next, you know that the distance from your first note to the next one must be a tone or must be a whole tone. So what is the whole tone from C to the next? What is going to be the next note? It's going to be a D.
That's D.
So that's why these notes, so what will be the, because it's down from from C to D is a tone, but from D to the next one has to be a semitone. That's the pattern. Don't forget the pattern for the minor scale. So from C to D, then from D to what? It has to be from D to E flat. Okay. So that means that first, yes, from D to E flat. Okay. So that means that this first flat will be E flat. So that's why the flat is, there's 3 flats here. So we have accounted for the first flat now. Let's continue. From E to it has to be the next distance has to be a tone, right? The next distance has to be a tone. So we were on E flat, right? From E flat to what will be the tone distance? From E flat. The next note will be what?
F sharp. F sharp.
From E flat, I know we are constructing a.
That would be
F.
G.
What is the enharmonic version of that G sharp? Or okay, because if you move from E
flat.
Yeah. F. Because let's start again. C to D, D to E flat.
And E flat to F. E flat to F.
Yes. Okay, because it has to be a tone, right?
Yes.
So E flat
to F.
Are you sure?
Yes, E flat to E.
E flat to F.
Yes,
that's
E flat to F.
that is a semitone, and from E to F, that's semitone. That's making tone.
Okay, let's go back to the keyboard.
E flat.
Let's go back to the keyboard. We were on E flat, right? Look at your keyboard. This is E flat. We want to move from E flat to a tone. That is F. You are correct. You are correct. Okay. So that means that from E flat, we go to F. Okay, from F, is it a tone distance? Yes, it has to be a tone. From F to G, right? Then from G to, it has to be a semitone distance now, or a half step. From G to
A flat.
A flat.
From G to A flat, thank you. So we got another second flat now. That's why we have 2 flats now already. From A flat to, it has to be a tone, right? Yes, it has to be a tone. From A flat to,
no, you have to be
That's
C.
That
It has to C.
From A flat, let's go to the keyboard. From A flat to
tone.
It has to be A flat to B flat. It has to be B flat. Okay? From A flat to B flat. So we got our 3rd flat now. That's why you have 3 flats at the beginning. You know, that's why they collated the 3 flats and put it at the beginning of the stave. All right. So, and the last one will be where you started from, which is your C. Okay, so we have successfully constructed the scale of C minor. All right. And
I'm not clear. Eh? I don't think
About
it's from that last one, sir.
okay, what is the last one?
The the from B to A. Is it B to A also?
Okay, we were on this one was B flat, right?
Mm.
So if this one was B flat, let's go there. If this one was B flat, we are moving a whole tone.
Mm.
You remember? So we will not stop here. We will come and
To be
stop
on
at
C.
C.
Okay.
So is
Alright.
it clear now?
No, it's clear.
Okay.
It's clear, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
yeah. So now I'm asking a question here. I said, what key does this look like? If you follow your key signatures, remember when we were dealing with key signatures with flats. If you have, you can see that we have 3 flats now. What key does this look like?
Flat major.
E flat.
Huh?
E
It's
flat.
looking
E
like
flat.
E. It's
E
looking
flat.
like E flat. All right. So it's looking like E flat. All right. It's the only difference now is that your tonic didn't start from E, which is supposed to start from E. So that's the minor. So this is the C minor. But now the relative major, okay, of C minor will be what? Will be E flat. You will now construct your E flat now. If you construct E flat now, you start on the right tonic. Your right tonic has to be the note of that key signature. Am I correct? Because if you're saying that it's going to be E flat, then the tonic must start on E. It must not start on C. It's only looking like this because it's the minor. C minor, but E major is the relative. E flat major now is the relative major of this minor, or C minor is the relative minor of E flat. All right. So that's the way it's looking right now. Okay. So the class activity. So it means that you have 2 assignments now. For these minor scales that you have previously constructed. Okay, it was not minor scale you previously constructed, isn't it? It was the major scales. I'm talking about this first assignment. I told you to construct a major scale, right? So now your second assignment is that for these major scales, you will state their relative. I think I mixed it. I turned it the other way. So for the major scales, you will state their relative minor keys, okay? So I'm coming. You know what you're supposed to do here now. For this, let me just compare the first assignment. Okay. I think it's basically the same thing. So, but you remember you have only constructed a major scale. All right. And when you are constructing your major scale, let me tell you, when you are constructing your major scale, so that the assignment I want to give you will be very interesting to you. Collate all your flats or sharp to the beginning of the stave. Don't just draw D, then you want to put the next one as D flat. Then you put your flat before D. Don't do that. Collate all your flat. You saw the way we constructed C minor the other time. So collate it like that. It will be easier for you. So when you have constructed, you have previously constructed all the major scales. Now you will look at your collation and try to now construct the minor of it. All right. Try to construct the minor of it. Okay. So that's what you're gonna do. Let me see if there's any confusion. I'll look at it now. if you have your major scale, let me see how your assignment is going to come out. You have a major scales. Let's say it's now E flat. And then how do you know? Okay, this is what I would like you to do. Let me reconstruct this second class activity. Okay, let me reconstruct this second class activity. The first one you constructed was the major scale. Although it's practically the same number 1 to 8, but take note of the question now. Maybe you have to write it down because I'm trying to adjust this right now. So for this same number 1 to 8 that you have previously constructed major scales, construct minor scales of this number 1 to 8. Construct minor scales of this number 1 to 8. Remember, the first one, you start from, the first one is already given to you. So move like that, in that order, to the next note in an octave. Okay? And you remember the pattern of minor scales. Tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. So move like that and construct the minor scale of this number 1 to 8. After you're done with that, then you will now tell me, just tell me what is the relative major of the minor scale you have constructed. So it's basically like just what we have just finished doing, okay? All right, so it's not difficult. If you have understood what we have done, just construct the minor scales of all these number 1 to 8. After you have constructed it, you don't need to construct another thing again. Just tell us what is now the relative major key of the minor scales you have constructed. All right, what is the relative major key of the minor scales you have constructed by yourself? You don't need to go and construct those major key. Just tell us. You don't need to construct that major scale. Just tell us what it is. For example, here, the example I gave to you, you don't need to construct E flat like I did here. You don't need to. Just tell me it is E flat. By looking at it, you now know that the relative major is E flat. Okay. All right. By that, I would say that I have come to the end of this class.